a citadel of learning, charged with a threefold mandate to raise men and women who are sound in health, wealth, and spirituality. At Kingdom Wealth Academy, we pursue a 360 prosperity because we understand that there is no true wealth without health. At the same time, a wealthy and helping individuals attain this balance is the source of our existence. For this reason, we teach time-tested, failure-proof principles drawn from God's word. And we invite you to join us on this ride to exceeding prosperity. Just to expatiate on that, Kingdom Wealth Academy can be seen as that platform whereby one is taught on different spheres of life from a biblical standpoint, highlighting clearly what God says about our way of living. We are addressed by individuals who are knowledgeable on the subject matters assigned to them and who are living testimonies of the principles they share as they have tested this in their own lives. Kingdom Wealth Academy leaders and people who are willing to make a difference in this generation and consequently generations to come. It is our way of living today that our children and their children will inherit. Kingdom Wealth Academy builds in God's sharing value, sacred to being successful, healthy, and wealthy, etc. Well, being is himself and laid as a burden in the heart call Dr. Divine Adeola, we have the utmost pleasure of benefiting from Kingdom Wealth Academy that has successfully trained and impacted the lives of work, spiritual values, rest, Chinwe, Pastor Enocherry, Chopfeyi Daniels, Mr. Abiodun, Folawiyo, Pastor Solu and Ken Adeleye, Professor Joy, Onyeso, etc. And Kingdom Wealth Academy has expressions in countries like Nigeria, Zambia, London, Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, Burkina Faso, etc. Personally, I have benefited so much from Kingdom Wealth Academy. In my own life, I have learned so much, especially when we're talking on the series of rest, finance rest, we had finance rest, we had different inspired, the teachings of relationship, the secret, all of those different teachings, they really boosted my personality, like who I am today. The Kingdom Wealth has kind of contributed to the courageous lady you see presenting this session for today. So I encourage all of us to join Kingdom Wealth as we go forward. The vision of Kingdom Wealth: to raise 1 million individuals from diverse backgrounds who are relevant to God's kingdom as well as humanity. How Kingdom Wealth operates. Kingdom Wealth hosts free trainings, both virtual and physical, in churches, campuses, organizations. And the flagship of Kingdom Wealth, the annual, has shown thousands of lives across the globe. Amidst other themes like the Ending Wealthy by Dr. Divine Adeola and Ending Wealthy, you have a book that was written by and launched just sometime this year by Dr. Divine Adeola, You Can Be Wealthy. And it's very enriching. I encourage us so much to get that book. Other things we have Maximizing Relationships, The Marketplace, The Ancient Mysteries, Raising Kingdom Champions, Rest, like I earlier mentioned, Dare to Dream, Prophetic Inquiry, which was our last session about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And it was a wonderful session with Bishop Faye Daniels. And God is going to grace us again with His presence sometime before this year ends. Now, a brief introduction of today's theme. The theme for today is Winning Office Politics, which will be brought to us by Mrs. Chinwe Onyegbula. Winning office politics. Well, preventing office politics. Office politics can be described as an action or behavior involving competition for status or power in a workplace. However, any politics involved with the use of power and social networking should achieve changes that benefit the organization or individuals within it. This is a general kind of definition. It's not standard, it's just an overview because I'm not the expert. The expert will be speaking to us in a bit. In a bit to show how real and deeply rooted this is, let me just point out a few instances from the Bible where we could call those instances office politics. The first instance I would like to point out was before creation, where we noticed the archangel Lucifer trying to raise himself to the standard of God and wanting to have battle and being defeated and cast out of heaven. Why do I give this as an example of office politics for status or power? Clearly, Lucifer was contesting, was going in for power, but yet he was defeated and cast down, which is winning office politics. God won by sending him out. Also, another case we can see is have Adonijah, the brother of Solomon, who was old and bedridden. However, with the help of Solomon's mother and other people directly to King Solomon, King David, on his 6th day, wants to be anointed king. Just to give it faster, the third example I'll give. Can you hear me?
All right.
Okay. The third, but not the last example, we had Daniel. We had Daniel, the case of Daniel was played, where you had the satrap that conspired and came up to the king, asking to sign a decree that was meant to lead to the downfall of Daniel. And they kind of succeeded to have the decree. But because Daniel was righteous, when he was thrown into the lions, then nothing happened to him, and he was restored, and those who set up, who conspired against him were then destroyed by being thrown into the lions, including their children and the rest of their families. Another victory in terms of office politics from the Bible. And the biggest and most popular case will have to be the victory of Jesus Christ. Though the Pharisees persecuted him and they sought to kill him, however, their plot was meant for the greater good, which was for him to accomplish his mission on earth, to come and die to bring salvation to mankind. Well, I don't know what else to say. I just had these little scenarios I picked out from my Bible. I said, okay, since I'm not the expert, let me just share this, and I hope it blesses someone. But we are going to have someone who is knowledgeable. She has the experience. She's a professional human resource officer. She has all it took. It's the people, it's the human resource Well, I'll give that honor to Ma that to present to us our speaker for the day. Thank you so very much, and I hope that you are blessed by today's teaching because it's going to be a wonderful moment. Stay tuned and join us for other sessions of Kingdom Work Academy. Ma, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Livy. Can you pull down your screen now? Can you stop sharing?
Yes, that.
You're still there. You're still sharing. Can you put it off, sir?
Trying to get it off.
Just click on stop sharing.
Done. Okay.
Okay.
It's still sharing. Okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Those on IG, good morning. We are in December, yes, and you know, it's better is the end of the matter than the beginning. So I welcome all of you with Jesus' joy, and I want you to sit back and enjoy this ride. I don't know if some of us were here when the speaker spoke sometime last month or last 2 months, and it was quite epic. And today's topic is something everyone needs. I tell you, everyone needs it. Even if you're doing business, it's not just about office. Office does not literally mean office. It could be your business because politics exists everywhere. So it could be business politics, it could be office politics, but wherever you work or you earn your living, such things happen. So you really need how to play those games because if you don't, you might be skimmed away. So without wasting much time, I want to read the profile of our speaker, then I'll bring her on board. So 1 minute. Okay. Good morning and welcome everyone once again. So our speaker today is Mrs. Chinwe Onyegbula. She's an experienced and passionate driven human resource professional with over 15 years progressive human resource experience, which includes industrial and employee relations, business partnering, organizational development and effectiveness, career management, training and development, recruitment and selection, conflict resolution, change management, and people's management. She has spent over 20 years of her career in customer service and human resources across the oil and gas and the telecommunication industries. An astute professional, she holds a BSc degree in statistics from the Abia State University, Uturu, an MBA in marketing from the University of Nigeria, and another MBA in human resource management from the University of Wales, United Kingdom. Chinwe has several professional certifications, which include project management professional PMP, awarded by the Project Management Institute PMI USA, senior professional in human resources, awarded by Human Resources Certification Institute USA. She's also a licensed human resource professional and an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management Nigeria, CIPMN. Chinwe is a committed Christian. She's married to God and they are blessed with 3 children, Ozioma, Ezinwa, and Chidera. Now I want all of us to welcome our speaker for the day, Mrs. Chinwe Onyegbula. She's going to take us through a beautiful ride to understand how the office politics is played and what we need to learn, because if you don't learn those things, you might be skimmed away. So thank you very much for coming on board, everyone, and I want to welcome you, especially Chinwe. You have the floor. Good morning, once again.
Morning. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Ada, for that introduction. I was actually wondering whether it was still me that was being introduced. But it's actually a pleasure to be back here once again to discuss on a topic that is really, well, I think it's an ongoing thing, and I'm sure every one of us would have at one time been a victim of office politics. And being a HR professional, it's something that, you know, when people come to you to ask for advice, to ask for counsel, office politics is always 99% one of the issues or the major issues that's being brought to us. And when I was contacted to discuss on it, I said, well, this is something, it's not something I will come and, let me say, preach or you know, just advise or tell you what to do. But it's something that it's good to discuss on, and just to give us some perspective on how we can look at this thing called office politics and how we can navigate through it and come out, feeling good and feeling strong with ourselves. So I'm glad to discuss it, and I'm going to look forward to the discussion afterwards on this. And let's go. So let's look at the word office politics. Many people consider it as a taboo. When you hear about it, office politics, man, I can't deal with it and all that. But we can see that it's pervasive everywhere, whether in the workplace, whether in the business. The thing called politics is everywhere, wherever human beings are, whether it's in your home, wherever, even in the church, there is politics. People call it church politics. Of course, in the political space, it's all government politics and etc. So it's everywhere. And like I mentioned earlier, when you ask people to describe office politics, 100% of the time, 99% of the words that you will hear are negative when it concerns office politics. You hear words like toxic, it's frustrating, it's dangerous, it's demotivating, it's draining, it's quite unfair. Some people will tell you that it's actually unnecessary, where people form cliques and all that and gossip. These are some of the words that you keep hearing whenever you hear of the term office politics. But before I start, when I was researching on this, I said, let me go and look at the definition of politics. What is politics? From the definitions I saw, I was able to come up with two, and the first one has to do with, activities associated with the governance of a country. All of us in Nigeria will talk about the politics of PDP, APC, and the rest of them, of course. So when you look at all the activities associated with the governance of a country, or even an area, especially the debates between parties, or in the bid to have power, that's where politics, that's one definition of politics. So those activities involved in that area. Another definition looks at it as activities aimed at improving someone's status or increasing your power within an organization. I repeat it, activities aimed at improving someone's status or increasing power within an organization. And that's where our focus of this discussion, because we're not here to discuss government politics or whatever, any political party. Although the activities are almost the same, everything is aimed at improving your status or putting yourself at a pedestal where you have more power to yourself. So let me say that in the simplest form, workplace politics is simply about the differences between people at work. Differences in opinion, conflict of interests, and they are often manifested as office politics. So it all boils down to human communication and relationship. As long as we are human beings in a group, working together in an area, because we are different, we have our different opinions, because we have our interest, there's conflict in our interest and everything, all these things manifest as what we call office politics. Someone told me that there's really no need to be afraid of office politics. And funny enough, I tend to agree, when it comes to the office, because I've seen from my experience and from what I've seen that if you check in your organization, top performers, those people that have been classified as top performers, as good, the best in their work, let me tell you that those people are those who have mastered the art of winning in office politics. You probably have heard that in order to succeed in some career, you have to play the game. And when you want to hear, you have to play the game. In other words, what it means that you have to learn to deal with office politics. I remember couple of years back, a former colleague of mine, I remember we were together, and she was telling me, she has gotten up to a senior management role, and she was telling me that, do I know what it took her to get to the position where she was? And I was, I said, okay, tell me. She had to really play some politics. And But if I know her, that she's the type that wants to come, do her work, and go. She doesn't have time to suck up to anybody or whatever. But that for her to move from the level that she was before to become a manager and then become a senior manager, that meant she had to do some things which were outside, her comfort zone, which were outside the kind of things that she was used to. So I asked her what happened. She said, that she found out that whenever she applied for any role, that somehow either she's not shortlisted, or even if she's shortlisted, she will never pass the first stage of the interview and so on. And that she's been wondering why, because she felt that she was capable, she felt that she could, she has what it takes to perform at that managerial level, until someone called her and told her that, in confidence, that, do you know why you've not been able to move to this place? That there's a particular GM, there's a particular top level staff that, you really have to get close to her, and you really have to be in her good books before you can able to move. Because if you're not in her good books, so she has the right to move you up, and have the right to say that you're not going anywhere, And the person advised her, if you really want to really move up, you need to, get close to this lady. And she told me, Chinwe, this is not something I'm not used to. She used the word sucking up to anybody. I'm not used to, going just to get, it's not in my nature. It's not something I'm used to. I just want to do my work and let me be recognized and do my interview and pass and all that. But, she said on hindsight, she has looked at this and she has tried. How many times has she gone for interview? And she couldn't. The person now said, why don't you try what I told you? Get close to this lady and you can see what will happen. And she told me, Chinwe, do you know, I have to go back and think. And I now told myself, okay, what's wrong in trying it? And let's see, it will not kill me. And she went to meet the lady that was mentioned. And, just first of all, complimented her, just greeted her. She was just doing that every day. And that day, she now told the lady, I admire you, I admire what you have achieved. I can see your career, see how people respect you and all that. And I want to be someone like you. In fact, I want you to be my mentor in the office. I just want you to help me, to understand what it means to perform at a certain level in the organization and all that. Oh, and human nature, the woman was, pleased. And she said, oh, I'm always good. I always like to help people. I'm there and there. Don't worry, I will teach you. I will grow you, once in a while call, we'll chat. And that was how once in a while she goes to the woman's office to chat. She'll ask her some questions and all that. She literally became close to the lady. Now, funny enough, when a particular position came out again and she applied, although that role did not report directly to the woman or whatever, but want to meet the lady that, oh, see this role applied and I want to apply for it, and that can you give me tips and ideas and all that. And I want to tell you that my former colleague got that role. In fact, as I'm talking to you, she's already a senior manager where she is. And you'll be wondering yourself whether what she did was right or whether what she did was wrong. We'll come to that. For you to be able to, like I mentioned before, that some people believe that for you to succeed in your career, you have to play the game. In other words, you have to learn to deal with office politics. While that may be true to an extent, it doesn't mean that you have to put aside your morals and your ethics and play dirty in order to climb the corporate ladder. I need to stress it again that you should not and would not need to put down your morals and ethics and play dirty in order to climb the corporate ladder. Most times people say politics are dirty or politics is dirty and all that. But we still complain, especially in government. We still complain when our leaders are not doing right. And we still suffer under that same government. And we still say politics is not good. But can politics be played in a better way? I think so. So we have to know that politics is more about Office politics is more about understanding the dynamics of your organization so that you can take the high road towards your own advancement. I've said it before that most top performers, most people that you call top performers, are people that have mastered that art of winning in office politics. I need you to have that in the back of your mind. Organizational politics are inescapable. Unfortunately, politics exists in every company of every size. It's just a matter of the severity of the issues. Workplace politics are more evident in mid to large organizations because there are more people competing for resources or visibility. There are fewer roles, and there are a lot of people vying for those roles. So for you to win, you have to play the politics to be able to get there. While there's nothing wrong with a little friendly, competition between colleagues, being drawn into intense political posturing, you can compromise your value, and this may be bad for the organization. So how do you manage tricky office politics without getting it over your head? Office politics appear in many ways, as it's called. Like I said, it's about people vying for more power, more prestige, and more money. Sometimes people feel justified or rational in their behavior because they feel it's best for the company. But ultimately, company politics can breed distrust. It can breed suspicion throughout the organization, and this hinders innovation and collaboration, which can crush any company's plans for growth. Let's look at some examples of office politics. I'm sure many of us have experienced it, but let's look at some that are prevalent in many offices. For example, if you check in your offices, we have what we call the elite groups, or the caucus, or a group that are like, they are let me use the word honored groups. You belong to a supposedly caucus group that apparently the boss favors. These are the groups that feel that the boss favors them. So this kind of group, you see the way and manner they behave. For example, many of them offices we have in WhatsApp. Most offices have WhatsApp groups, their departments and all that. You find out that in those groups, when someone outside the caucus or the in-crowd proposes an idea, it's either dismissed without anybody giving it much thought, or people even ignore. You can see when you put a chat or so, make a statement. If you're not in that group, most people will not even respond to your chat. But let it be the boss or a member of that caucus group will put in a chat. You see everybody trying to, just to make comments and all that. Those are some of the politics that you see, But like I said, it's very similar to something previously proposed by someone. What I was trying to say is that when somebody makes a comment and the person is not in the caucus group or so, nobody comments or nobody says anything. But when it's somebody from that caucus group or even the boss mentions the same thing, everybody will say, oh, what a wonderful idea. And it is taken into consideration and given credence. That's an example of an office politics. There is a lot of sucking up and undercutting going on. For example, in the office, there might be two managers that are vying to lead on a project or an event. Both will attempt to influence the boss by way of flattery and manipulation. They may even turn on each other if they get desperate. Because there's something they are looking at, you see them fighting, backbiting, or backstabbing even that particular colleague. You understand? Just because they want to get a particular project or get to be recognized with particular things, or even to belong to that elite group. You see people blackmailing colleagues. You see people forming malicious alliances against other colleagues, gossiping and spreading rumors about others, intentionally withholding important information. These are some of the examples we see in an organization when the politics are played. All because everybody is looking for power. Everybody is looking for relevance. Everybody is looking for promotion. So they tend to do it in this malicious way, bringing down other people, saying things, gossiping about others so that they can be recognized in their workplace. Though office politics can be used both ethically and unethically, at their core, They are just a range of informal, unofficial, and sometimes behind-the-scene efforts that happen in an organization as people position themselves, their interests, their teams, and their priorities to get things done. Let me give an example. Let's say you have a big meeting coming up where stakeholders at your company are going to decide which product to invest in, which includes yours. Okay? So maybe there's a board meeting or there's a management meeting, and there's a need for the management team or the board to decide on which project to invest in. And you're among the people that have to present yours too, so that they can pick. Let me tell you, if you are savvy at politics, you know that to get your project approved, you first need to understand the priorities and perspective of those stakeholders. Most times, like I've said it before, even in interview, you want to go for an interview and you feel that preparing on your own will, just the preparing on your own will get you successful in that interview. But if you have politics in your mind, if you know how to deal with politics, you first have to understand, first of all, especially for this particular project that you want to get approved, you need to understand the priorities and perspective of those stakeholders. Because you're trying to sell yourself, you're trying to sell the project to them. So a wise person will need to understand, what are these people looking out for? What are their priorities? What should I project so that these people will be able to see the value in my project and select my project? Let me tell you that this is part of the politics. What does it mean? You need to engage with them beforehand and learn what they are looking for so that you can be more persuasive in presenting your idea. Is this a bad politics? That you understand what is needed before you start opening mouth to talk. That's a wise move, and this is still activities that are needed for office politics. So this is an example of how office politics can be ethically used to help you gain an advantage. You can't continue to remain in one place. Think that the knowledge or that your own human understanding or that your own way of doing things can solve you the problem. For you to get value from someone else, you need to understand what value means for that person. And then you're able to posture it and present your idea persuasively. By painting all political activities within the same brush, we are oblivious to the potential for constructive politics. That is, the range of perfectly ethical and appropriate activities that can serve to strengthen the relationship of support, expand your influence, and build a powerful base that allows you and your team to be more effective. Lee, when I read up, there's this statement from Lee, Gibbleman, and Terence Dale in their research. They said, the question is not whether organizations will have politics, but rather, what kind of politics they will have. As human beings, we are social creatures, and the use of relationships, informal influence, and power plays a part on how we engage, for better or for worse. So what can we do? What can we do, when this office politics is something we are facing? Now, I think I've been able to establish to you that office politics is not that bad. Do you understand? The problem is usually how it is played. Now that I've explained some of the truth behind this myth, let's take a look at what you can do to ease yourself into playing office politics well. The first thing I would advise is to reframe what politics means to you. I started with this, most times within the back of our mind and within our experience, what we've seen so far, all we know is that office politics is bad. But I need you to start to be aware of your language and how it is framing your reality. I repeat it again. Start to be aware of your language and how it is framing your reality, especially how it frames the way you understand the work environment and how you choose to show up in it. I ask you, are you sucking up or are you focused on building and understanding new relationships? You can't survive in an office without building relationships. You can't work in silos. You can't work without dealing with other people. And it's key that you build those relationships, you build those networks. Because for you to really succeed in office politics, you need to know how to deal with people and how to get from people what you need from them. Are you resentful and irritated that you have to have a bunch of smaller meetings before a big meeting? Or do you recognize the power in being prepared, laying the groundwork, and getting your ideas the best chance of success? You know, like I said, most times we believe that there's no need for talking to people to get what I want. On my own, I think I have the knowledge, or I can go to the internet, or I can read up books and get what I want. You know, but have you considered the fact that there is need to prepare before the main event? And that involves having smaller meetings, engaging the right people to get the right information so that you can present yourself in a good way, so that you can get success. Remember, the focus is on the success. So what do I need to do ethically to be able to get that success? Do you view informal conversations as lobbying? What do you define as lobbying? Many people see that lobbying with all the negative connotations it carries. Or do you see it as doing an important homework? We all know the importance of doing your homework before any particular event. Those that do exams, you also know the importance of preparation. Have you viewed that lobbying in the organization can be done in such a way because you want to present yourself in a good light, because you don't want to disappoint your boss or disappoint the organization and its expectations? Let me tell you, it's almost never about the activity itself, but rather the intention behind the activity and the interpretation and judgment we attach to it. Clearly, we tend to put more energy into something we see and label as positive and important than into the things we begrudge or don't see the point of doing. So like I said, reframe the way you look at politics, office politics. Because if you look at it as being important, if you look at it in a positive light, then it will help you to come up with ideas of how you can win it. Most of our challenges most times have been because we are viewing it in the negative light. So we don't even put effort to understand how best can we play this in order to achieve. Because you could see the negative effect of not even playing it, of even condoning how other people are playing it and remaining dormant without doing anything. Alternatively, if the negative connotations of office politics are so ingrained in you that you cannot change your mindset, try calling them something else. Tell yourself, I'm building strategic relationships with my stakeholders, or I'm expanding my coalition of support. However you can do it. But reframing the way you see it is very important and key to your success. What you call them doesn't matter really. What does matter is that you see these things as valuable and important, and you put your effort and energy into them. Remember that keyword I said. Top performers in organizations are people that have learned how to play politics, whether they play them negatively or play them positively. But for you to be a top performer, you need to understand how the game is played and know how to ethically direct yourself in working in it. The second thing I would advise is evaluate your style against your organization's political environment. Every organization has the way they play their politics, and you all know that, having stayed in the organization for quite a while. So rather than spending your time and energy mourning or resenting the nature of organizations, which are inherently political, all of us know that, let's focus our time and energy on understanding what kind of political environment you are in your organization. You need to understand what kind of politics your organization is playing. First of all, is your organization minimally, moderately, or highly, just pathologically politicized? To what degree does the political culture fit your current personal political style and what you want out of life and career? It's really important that you understand that. Because you might be politically savvy, but you work in an organization that the kind of politics they play, if you play it, it's either you are going to die or it's either you are going to reduce yourself from the level you put yourself to. Because it's good to know that, very important, so that you know how you can play it, or something, an organization that if you decide, man, this is not for me, I need to get out, then you make that decision. There's an expert in organizational politics called Kathleen Reardon. And when I was preparing, I saw that she classified organizations, she called them political players, into 4 types. Okay, so there are political players in an organization. They can play in 4 ways. There are people, when I'm going to talk about this, look at yourself and see where you place yourself, in the way you play politics, if you play. But just let me look at that. She said there are people they call the purists. These are people that dislike all thoughts of politics. All they want is to simply get their job done. What is expected of them, they do it. They don't want to play they don't want to consult or do, let me use the word, lobby, or do any underground G or whatever to do politics. There are people like that. They just dislike anything called politics. They don't want to play it. They are called the purists. And that type of political player is called the street fighter. You know the term, the street fighter. They believe that the best way to get ahead is through the use of rough tactics, even at the expense of others. They use words anyhow. They go headlong. They don't care however it affects the person. All they are thinking is their own interest. And they fight, like, you know how street fighters, anything goes, anything they have in hand, they use it because they have their purpose and this is the way they want to get it. It's not about ethics. It's not about morals. It's about what they want. So anyhow, if there's a bottle, if there's anything on handy, they do it to get ahead. Those are the street fighters. Then there are people that are called the team players. They believe in getting ahead by working well with others. They believe in relationships. They participate in politics with the intent of advancing group goals. You see many of them, they work in teams. They are not afraid to meet anybody because they have the interest of their team at hand. If they feel in their team, so person has a particular skill that can move them ahead. You can work in a group and in your group, you are the leader. But you find out that one member of your group has good oratory skills, has good presentation skills. And even though the person is not a team lead, you bring out the person because your interest is in that person. And this is a person that can present and project people in a good light. You bring that person and, let the person be the face of your team. That's a team player. And whatever you are doing, that is also called office politics. So you can see how the team player is doing his own. You can see how the street fighter can see the purist. Now, there are people also called the maneuverers. The maneuverers. Those are people that believe in getting ahead by playing the games of politics in a way that's so skillful, unobstructive, that they do it silently to those who only take things at face value. They're the ones that do the underground. They look at things and they won't talk, but they know who to contact. They know who to meet. They know how to even get to the CEO. They already in their mind, they already think, they call them the maneuverers. They get ahead by playing this game of, they understand it so well. They are so skillful in doing this. So with all these different types of political players and the way they play their game, anybody can develop skills and change their approach if you really want to. But unless you want to make these changes, it's very unlikely that, first of all, a purist, a person that dislikes politics, will be very happy or productive in a highly politicized environment, or that a street fighter will be welcomed in a minimally politicized environment. So what am I saying? That the organization you work in have the kind of politics. And with your understanding of what I said now about the different types of political players, you need to look at yourself. Look at the organization. Can you play the game there? Remember, I've spoken about reframing the way you look at office politics. Because when you think that office politics is bad, that means you don't even see any good in anything. So you can't even critically analyze how the politics is being played. But if you can refrain that, yes, office politics can something I can play, even with my own moral standards. And then you now objectively look at the politics in your office. If you're a purist and you can't play politics, you don't want to play politics at all times, it's going to be very difficult for you to function in an organization that is highly politicized. Or if you're a street fighter, if you're such that you bamboozle your way into anything, if you come to an organization that are politically averse, they are not really into politics, they do the things the way they have planned to do their things, you will not do well in that organization. Even a street fighter will not do well, even in an organization that deals more in team players. Okay? So you need to understand that, know where you stand, look at your organization, and look at how you can really play this politics well in that organization. Another way is to constantly improve your political service. To get to where you want to go, you need to be clear on where you are starting from. Understanding the concept of political intelligence is one thing, but understanding how you stack up against them is another. As with any strategy, the key is to revisit and update your political strategy regularly as the context changes. You will inevitably fail sometimes, but other times you will succeed. Getting up and trying again is what really matters. So, from my experience and from what I've read from other people, I want to give you some powerful habits that can help you to win in office politics. The first thing that I believe is that you need to be aware that you have a choice. Most people will say, I don't have a choice, so they want to kill me. I don't have a choice. But the thing is that you have a choice. Because we know that the most common reaction to office politics at work is either to fight or you fly. That means you exit. You fly, you run away from it. That's the usual common reaction that people have towards office politics. I can't play this game. Or, in fact, let me leave them and remain where I am. But if you really want to win, you have to consciously choose your reaction to that situation. Recognize that no matter how bad the circumstances are, you have a choice in choosing how you feel and react. So how do you choose? Look at it. It brings you to the next point. Know what you are trying to achieve. When conflict happens, it's very easy to be sucked into a tunnel vision and focus on immediate differences. That's a self-defeating approach. Chances are that you only invite more resistance by focusing on differences in people's positions or people's opinions. The way to mitigate or to solve this without looking like you are fighting to emerge as a winner in this conflict is to focus on the business objectives. Look at the goal of the business. Look at the goal of your unit. Look at your key performance indicators. What are you trying to achieve? That's very important. In the light of what is best for the business or for your team, discuss the pros and cons of each option. If I go this route, will I be able to achieve it? If I go this route, will I be able to achieve? Eventually, everyone wants the business to be successful. If the business doesn't win, then nobody in the organization wins. It's much easier for one to eat the humble pie and back off when they realize the chosen approach is best for the business. By learning to steer the discussion in this direction, you will learn to disengage from petty differences and position yourself as someone who is interested in getting things done. So when issues come, when there seems like conflict and all that, and people are fighting, if there's a way the discussion is going on, is a way to look at what are we trying to achieve? What is the aim of this? What's the aim of bringing this conflict of opinion and all that? If you can be the one to bring the discussion for us to focus, this is the business objective, what are we trying to achieve? And when you look at that, everybody will have to be focused on that, and then we'll be able to see whether we can choose the right direction for it. And when you do that in your team, your boss will come to appreciate you as someone who is mature, strategic and can entrusted with bigger responsibilities. So when you play that game, by learning how to channel the conversation towards achieving those objectives, there's a way you process that people will not see that you are fighting for yourself, but you're focusing on the organization goal. Funny enough, you're already positioning yourself for bigger responsibilities. People are already seeing that this is a mature person. This is somebody that can be entrusted with higher responsibilities. That's the way you can play your politics. Another way you can do that is focus on your circle of influence. At work, there are often issues that we have very little control over. It's not uncommon to find corporate policies, demands from customers, or your boss mandates which affect your personal interests. Look at how you can position your strengths and make them visible. Most times, of course, that we have some difficult bosses. We have some, policies that we in our hearts we don't align with this policy, but we don't really have, we don't really have control over those policies. The key in this is to see how can I position myself and still make myself visible. To gossip and complain are common responses to this event that we cannot complain. These are things that we don't see. These are about, these are this thing, and this will not help the matter. But let's think about it. Other than the short-term emotional outlet, what tangible results do gossiping really accomplish? In most instances, it doesn't accomplish anything. It's just an opportunity for us to, give our emotions an outlet, complain, lambast, and all that. At the end of the day, that's where it ends. But does it accomplish anything? No. So the idea is for us to look at ourselves and think of how can we position yourself to make ourselves visible and reliable. The next thing I advise is that you network, align, and build strong relationships across the organization, as opposed to being avoidant or cliquish. If we are in my last presentation, when I talked about career and career advancement, you can see that I'm very passionate about networking, aligning and building strong relationships. No one is an island. In an organization, you need to be strategic about the relationship you build, because they will help you. If you want to really grow, check it, like I said, those top performers. They have an idea of where they want to go. They have the people that they need to align themselves with. You start gradually. Like I said, some decisions are being made about you in your career when you are not present. And if you're the type that continue to complain, the type that continue to gossip, the type that continue to stay on your own, that you're not making yourself visible, that people will not see you. When those decisions are being taken, those things are being taken into consideration. And the people that are being considered visible, people that are being considered reliable, people that have made themselves, to stand out in the way they handle things. These are the people that can be remembered and take decisions. Remember my friend, the discussion I told you about how she later became a senior manager. I'm not going to here discuss about the way and manner she went about it, but the idea is that she understood that positioning herself, aligning herself with the right person will get her to that position. So how are you aligning yourself at whatever level you are? I'm not telling you that you should suck up, but I'm telling you that you need to build strong relationships. You need to put yourself in the face of people so that when decisions are being taken, you'll be able to be selected. I'm not saying you should form the clique. Don't ever do anything against your moral, against your ethics. But be true to yourself and remember that you can play the game in a good way. Don't ever take sides. When you take sides, you don't even know where the decision is coming from. You have to be diplomatic. You have to look at things in different ways. Oh, this person is right. These are a group of mourners, and these are people that they consider themselves. Don't always be objective in the way things. Yeah, they are right. This area you are wrong. But this area you are right. This area you are wrong. Avoid office politics. Don't isolate yourself from employees. Distance often leads to negative power dynamics. Don't put yourself, go and stay in your small corner. You cannot win that way. You need to understand what is going around. You need to understand the policies going around. If you don't know that, you always feel and you're wondering and asking yourself, what is happening, and then begrudge everybody. In office politics, it's possible to find yourself stuck in between two power figures who are at odds with each other. You find yourself being thrown around while they try to outwit each other and defend their own position, all at the expense of you getting the job done. You can't get them to agree on a common decision for a project, and neither of them want to take ownership of issues. They are too afraid that they will get stabbed in the back for any mishap. This is the issue of taking sides. In cases like this, focus on the business objectives. Don't take sides with either of them. Even if you like one better than the other, place them on a common communication platform and ensure open communication among all parties so that no one can claim, I didn't say that. By not taking sides, you will help to direct conflict resolution in an objective manner. You also build trust with both parties that will help to keep the organization engagement constructive and focus on business objectives. Don't get personal. In office politics, you get angry with people. It happens. There will be times when you feel the urge to give that person a piece of your mind and teach him a lesson. Don't. People tend to remember moments when they are humiliated or insulted. Even if you win this argument and get to feel really good about it for now, you will pay the price later when you need help from this person. What goes wrong, especially at the office, workplace, can come back to you. To win in the office, you want to build a network of allies which you can tap into. The last thing you want during a crisis or an opportunity is to have someone screw you up because they have both ill intentions towards you, or because you enjoy a brief moment of emotional outburst at their expense. Another reason to hold back your temper is your career advancement. Increasingly, organizations are using 360 degrees reviews to promote someone. If you don't understand what 360 degree reviews, it means, it's not just now when you're doing performance management appraisal, it's not just you and your manager. The manager appraising your work and all that. Many companies are appraising now apart from the manager, they ask your colleagues, maybe your fellow team members, or even some other teams. They ask your customers, they ask suppliers. 360 means a circle. All the people you interact with are used to evaluate you. And some companies use that to promote someone. So even if your line manager is saying that you are doing well in your job, and your colleagues are saying you're not a team player, or your suppliers or other stakeholders are saying, no, here you backbite, or here you're not a friendly person, you're already spoiling your opportunity to be promoted. So even if you're a star performer, your boss will have to fight a political uphill battle. If other managers or peers, if you are someone who is difficult to work with, the last thing you want to make is to make it difficult for your boss to champion you for a promotion. The next thing is to seek to understand before being understood. I repeat it again, seek to understand before being understood. The reason people feel unjustified is because they felt misunderstood. If people contact you, if people call you, if people, come to you with an issue, the first thing is to understand before you, understand them first. Most times we are more interested in getting the other person to understand us than to understand them first. Top people management and business leaders have learned to suppress this urge. Surprisingly, seeking to understand is a very disarming technique. Once the other party feels that you understand where he or she is coming from, they will feel less defensive and be open to understand you in return. This sets the stage for open communication to arrive at a solution that both parties can accept. Trying to arrive at a solution without first having this understanding is very difficult. There is little trust and too much second guessing. Think win-win. As mentioned upfront, political conflicts happen because of conflicting interests. Perhaps due to our schooling, we are taught that to win, someone else needs to lose. Conversely, we are afraid to let someone else win because it implies losing for us. In business and work, that doesn't have to be the case. Learn to think in terms of how can we both win out of this situation. This requires that you first understand the other party's perspective and what's in it for him. Next, understand what's in it for you. Strive to seek out a solution that is acceptable and beneficial to both parties. Doing this will ensure that everyone truly commits to the agreed solution or resolution and will not pay lip service to it. People simply don't like to lose. You may get away with win-lose tactics once or twice, but very soon you find yourself without allies in your workplace. Thinking win-win is an enduring strategy that builds allies and helps you in the long term. Finally, I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing from me. Finally, remember that doing politics on your own terms with a clear-eyed view of how to be effective without selling your soul or sacrificing your values will not only benefit you, but so your colleagues and your stakeholders who are counting on you to do the best job you can. All of us play some form of politics, and getting better at the version that we want to play is critical to our career success and our personal well-being. Because it's really cool. If you don't do politics, politics will do you. So thank you everyone for listening to me. And Ada, over to you. Thank you.
We are not tired. I don't know why you say we are tired. We are not tired. Honestly speaking, office politics has been generalized, but you brought up some nuggets that will stay with us. For those that really want to use it to win, and you were able to diversify on the fact that, when you hear it, for some people it means dirty. So when we hear politics, it means dirty. But for me, I choose to call it wisdom. Or some people can call it common sense. Because you can see, and my supervisor always says something. Always look for an opportunity to showcase yourself, your talents, your skills. Learn to showcase yourself, especially maybe when you have an opportunity to maybe like have a meeting, maybe MPR, and the MD is meant to be there.
Yeah.
Make sure that your slides are perfect. Make sure that you get the numbers, you get the information behind those figures. Because it may never happen again.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity for you to strike and put your face, or maybe enter into the mind of the decision makers. You never can tell. You may not really get a raise in salary or maybe promotion, but you can be given opportunities that will help you to grow in terms of personal development and all that, which can give you more opportunities to also get something better. So that's why I'm so delighted that you took it from this point. I've actually sent a note that people should bring in their questions, but there are some questions that I already have before others come. Okay, the question is like this. Okay, number one, how do I identify office politics and how do I play in it? I guess what the person means is, okay, I might be working or maybe doing business with people. I don't even understand that there is office politics going on. So how do I identify when office politics is going on in my office or maybe in my place of business? And how do I use it to my advantage? That's the question.
Okay, I can answer that, right?
Yes, please.
Let me tell you, my dear, office politics is plain. As long as you are human beings in that office politics is going on. And for the fact that you're not even aware that office politics is going on, well, it's good. It's good in one way because it means that you're comfortable, it's not toxic, and life is going on well for you. But I will tell you that if you see the last comment I made, that if you do not play office politics, politics will play you. And what office politics, first of all, involves you positioning yourself, to be seen as a performer, positioning yourself to be visible, building strong relationships, stop working in silos, being a team member, doing the best, even performing at the peak in your career. You are playing office politics. What are you doing? You are positioning yourself to be identified, selected as somebody of worth when decisions are going to be made. That is office politics. It's not that negative perception. I remember I said you frame your mind that when the people are playing dirty, your boss is blocking you from promotion and all that. That is not. You prepare ahead of time. That's being proactive. Yeah. I keep saying that you don't have to remain being a silo. You can't. I said top performers are people that have learned how to play this politics. They started before time. You think that it's when the interview came that they went for the interview. They did the background work. So start looking at yourself. Look at how am I performing? What's my relationship with my boss? What's my relationship with my colleagues? Who are the people? Where do I even want to go? So who are the people that will help me? Do I want to go high in a business to be a leader? Who are the people I can say, please mentor me, be my coach, help me, I'm preparing myself, my business acumen, my all these things. You're already playing the politics. So when decisions are taken, you do it. I hope I'm clear on that.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's very spot on. Okay, the second question that I have is, I work in a financial institution and I've been on the same level for close to 9 years. And I've been very diligent in my work. Every of my supervisors like me and they can attest to that. But I can't understand why I haven't gotten promoted in the 9 years that I've been working so hard. So how else do I play the office politics to get the promotion? Or does it mean even if I play it, I will not get it? How do I forge ahead? Because it's really disheartening and it's discouraging me. That's the question.
Very good question. Very good question. And you know why I keep saying very good question? Because I know people that just have been in particular roles 10 years, 15 years, and they're just comfortable there. As long as they're paying them salary, as long as you go to work and come back, and they're okay, they're fine. They're not interested in moving or doing something that to push their career. They're just okay as long as I have work. I'm doing that. For you to ask that question, I'm glad because it's something that on people that I'm mentoring. These are things that I've been discussing with them, and I tell them there's a time you work in an organization for a certain period of time. You need to start asking yourself questions, and this question you ask means that you are ready to play the game. Now, first of all, have you ever tried to find out the people that have been promoted? Maybe the people that joined you and the time they've promoted ahead of them. Have you ever tried to find out what happened? What did they do? Or what got them promoted? That's one. Have you ever tried to find out from your boss how, if I want to move from this level to another level, what does it take? I know that sometimes some bosses might not, or rather are not inclined to answering that question, maybe because they want you there, or because they are toxic people. Of course, let's agree that we have people like that. But starting to ask questions, what do I need to do to get myself to the next level is the first key. So if you cannot get that from your inner circle, there are other people in the bank that you can ask questions. Don't think that on your own you can answer that question. And then when you ask questions and find out that opportunities are not existing and there's nothing I can do to get myself to the next level, then you have to look out. Absolutely. Then you have to look out. Because at times will come when you say that this is the dead end. So it's a choice now. Do I want to continue to remain in this particular position and be earning money because I don't want to take the risk of going out to another organization? Because let me tell you, the time will come when organizations will now look at people that have spent certain number of years in a particular role without moving. And when they want to do some restructuring, it might be a victim of that. Okay? So by asking these questions, we'll be able to reveal to you the things that you need. Because maybe you've not asked those questions, you've not discovered. Maybe you've not asked other parties, or you've not even built relationship with other people, other stakeholders within your banking or your financial institution that you work in. Because when you ask them questions, you might be able to hear, oh, there's a vacant position somewhere, or you need some certification some people that have, they need to move, or these are people that you need to align with so that you're able to get, by asking those questions, you are starting that. But don't stay back. Don't stay back. Push, ask questions, and then see where you can align back. If it's from your colleagues, from others, and everywhere, you need to start something. That is office politics too. Thank you
very much. Thank you so much. Okay, the third question that I have here, it says, I understand the office politics, but sometimes my spirit does not align to doing some certain things. I'd rather prefer I pray for God's intervention than doing some certain things to be able to get visible in the office. Please, what do you advise?
I'm laughing because, as a human being, for some time, there's something God has been teaching me in, I think it's in the Proverbs, when he says that trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. You see this our spirit. You see this our spirit.
Yeah.
Our spirit is led by our own understanding, by our own experience, by our own environment. Remember when I talked about the purest, where there are people that they don't believe. It's them. You come from people that are this averse. They don't believe in conflict. They don't believe in posturing. They don't believe. There's so many things that they believe. I remember, like I said, the Bible says, lean not in your own understanding. Because the way our own understanding, you think is our own understanding, you think is the right way. Now, office politics, like I said, when you frame it that it's not all dirty, it's about you positioning yourself in the right way, you understand, to achieve your objectives. Now, I ask you, what is your goal? You know your goal. How are they playing the politics in your office? If it's morally wrong, if it's ethically wrong, it doesn't mean that you are going to go ahead with them, but it means for you to go. How else can I play my own so I can checkmate them? That's the active way I want you to look at it. How else can I play my own game and I can checkmate them? The issue is that most people see what they are playing and keep quiet and be complaining. Most people keep quiet and be complaining and be gossiping about how the organization is playing their politics. But the better way is to look at them and look at yourself. How can I position myself and play my own game and checkmate them? I give an example. I know somebody that told me about the organization where he works, and apparently the GM there is like has positioned himself as a god, and everybody sucks up to that particular GM, and the GM only favors the people he or she likes and all that, and people are, everything GM is the everybody follows GM. And he looks at back and looked at this. And he said, how can I play this game without sucking up to this GM? And you know what he did? The GM reports to an executive. And he went and got across to the executive and as executive that, that he wants to be learning things from the executive. He wants to, improve his performance, that if the executive can look at him since he has been working, can she give him how tips on how he can improve, that he wants to become available for projects, for events, that he wants to be helpful. And the executive was very, very impressed with this young man. And, gradually, why I'm saying? Because at the end, when the decision of promotion came up on one time, the GM was in that room, the executive was in that room with other people. And when the decision was taken, who, and the GM was presenting his people, the exec had the final say. And she selected the young man because she saw, she had evidence. So let me ask you, did this young man play the politics? Did he do it unethically? I think you can answer that. I don't know whether this is clear. You can't afford to sit back. You can't afford to sit back. You have to think in your own way. How else can I do it? And do it, and my spirit will be okay. Let's go.
Okay, thank you so much. To corroborate with what you said, there was a time an opportunity came for trainers when I was working in the bank. And I'm a trainer. And I felt if I stay in my branch, the head of training in head office will never know me or never even know that I have such interest. So one of the days he came for training in Enugu, I walked up to him and because he was training us and said that some people have been trained to train the trainers so as to reduce costs from external trainers. And after training on some staff, they paid them. But whatever they're going to pay them cannot be compared with what they pay the external trainers. But what it means? This is outside their salary. And I thought, wow, this is another way of making money, still being in the bank and doing your work. I walked up to him and I told him I'm interested. Because then they were all taking senior staff, so to speak, senior management. I told him I was interested. He said, okay, then in the second batch, he's going to include my name. It's a matter of interest. This is something I like doing. This is my happy place. And I heard about an opportunity and I keyed into it. So, like you said, it has to be ethical. If it's unethical and it's against your faith, you don't need to do it. But like you also said, you have to find ways and means to do it so that you can also meet your objective. Because it's all about meeting a goal, meeting an objective. Okay, I want to get, even if I don't want to be promoted, but I want to maybe head a particular project, because this particular project will give me opportunity to meet top management staff.
Exactly.
So I find my way into it. And from there recommendations come. I think that Divine has something to contribute.
Yes,
concerning this question, because this question is already causing some ripple effect. I know a whole lot of people will be wondering, what are they talking about? Are we not meant to be Christians? Are we not meant to depend on God? Is God not supposed to fight for us? And all that. Why do we have to do that? So, Dr. Divine, do you have anything to add to this question?
Thank you. Chinwe has done very good justice to the question, but I'm just trying to add a little thing to what she has done. And why I want to even come in is because the person that asked the question is my kind of person and believes so much in prayers. And I think one of the days I was discussing with Chinwe, I mentioned to her my background when I was going through this kind of office politics and this thing in my career. And because I'm a person that believes so much in prayer, so I felt it was a demonic case. So I was doing a lot of binding and a lot of losing. And the more I bind, the more I lose, the more the case gets worse for me in that situation. And in the place of prayers, one of the days, I was praying, what do I do? It was as if God was not answering my prayers. It was as if God left me to be like a sheep to be slaughtered and all of those things. And I'm like, God, I'm doing what you want me to do. Why would this wicked man, I call him a wicked man, that's the way we always see those boys, a wicked man. Why will you allow him to always torment me like this and all of those things? Now, in the place of prayers, it took me to a scripture that gave me my deliverance. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 1 and verse 9. The Bible said in verse 1, it said, To a man belong the plan of the heart. To a man belong the plan of the heart, but God answereth his tongue. To a man belongs the plan of the heart, but God answereth his tongue. So the role of man is to plan his way, while what God does is to answer your prayers. So meaning if you don't have a plan, there is nothing God is going to put a rubber stamp on. I don't know whether you understand me now. You need to have a plan. You don't go and leave what you want to do for God to do for you when you are supposed to be the one doing it. Now, I need to understand the truth here. Is when I was going through all of this, after encountering this scripture, verse 9 of the same place, let me get my Bible. Verse 9 says, in the act of a woman is their cause, but the Lord established their step. Yes. So God expects you to have a design. God expects you to have what we call project canvas, but the role of God is to direct your step. You know, understand me. God does not plan for man. You need to understand that, my sister that asked this question. God does not plan for man. God expects you to plan and get approval or disapproval from him. You need to understand. God can either approve your plan or disapprove your plan. But he will not plan for you. He has given you brain so that you can plan. He has given you mind and conscience and all of that will help you in your planning. Do you understand what I'm saying here now? So you don't go and leave your destiny, so to say, in the hands of God, and you are not doing what you are supposed to do. I need you to understand something here. I read from a book after all of this, The Power of Office Politics. And when I read that book, it was from that book I realized that office politics, Chinwe, is a game. It is a game. I love the way you attack it. It is not dirty. I don't like hearing that word dirty. It is not dirty. It's ignorance that makes us to feel it is dirty. You can either play it dirty or you play the way it should be played. But there is office politics and it's a game. And if anything is a game, it requires skill. It requires talent. Then if it requires skill and it requires talent, meaning there is need for knowledge. You need to understand it. Just like football is a game, it requires skill, it requires your talent, then there's need for you to add knowledge. Somebody has to train you. So you need to understand, that's why somebody like Chinwe is on this call. You need to go submit yourself to a coach who is going to train you on how to win office politics and how to climb the corporate ladder. You need to understand that. So it's a game. Office politics is not evil. It is a game. And anything that is a game, please, my sister and my brother, learn what it takes to win a game. You can't play football and win if you don't understand the dynamics of football. So go and plan your way. You want to be promoted. There are things that you need to do. Chinwe has given you all of those things. Plan your way. Present you to God. God will now direct you action to take in line with your plan. Don't go and sit there and begin to label the man Pharaoh and begin to pray prayer that God will not answer. God does not answer such prayer. So a man belongeth the plan of his heart. God answered the tongue. So you need to plan your way. So God bless you. So Chinwe, over to you. I have signed up.
Think Ada.
I know that a whole lot of people that didn't ask this question are actually learning from it, because I know that it may have been in their mind, but maybe they didn't know how to ask it. So, and I know that both of you have done good justice to this very question. So the first question that I have is, okay, I understand office politics, and I think I've played the game severally. But what of a situation whereby you're playing the game, or maybe you want to be recognized and it becomes toxic? What do you do? At what point do you have to stop so that you don't hurt yourself or enter into trouble because you want to showcase your skill?
Okay. When something becomes toxic, you already know that there's something wrong, you know. And when you start playing a game, you know, if you remember when I was talking, I talked about, you know, there's a position, you present yourself, the person, and it looks as if, there's now becoming an issue. And I say that focus on the objective, organizational goal. And when you always focus on the organizational goal, it's actually very important and determines how well you can play. Organizational goals also have the value that drives that organization. It's there. And when you start playing a game that is now going against the values of the organization, and if you see yourself playing in that route, that's the time for you to pause and check back. Also, I said, when you look at the relationship, the communication, and you find out that, there's not becoming an issue in the conflict. That's when I talked about to listen and understand. To listen and understand what's causing that toxicity. Is it that they are saying that I'm not the right person for this role because I do not have certain experience or do not have certain qualification? And yes, this is what they said, and I go back and check and find out, yeah, true, I don't have those, I don't have this. Do I continue to push on because a friend of mine said, don't mind them, see the other person, he didn't have it, but he got those roles, and then I still put my head into it? Or do I say, okay, fine, if this is the way, let me ask so person, my boss, or should I halt them? Like I said, it's not a do or die thing. You yourself know that whatever game you are playing is not a do or die. Like Dr. Divine said, if you are playing a football, it's a game, and that if you break a leg, they will remove you from that game. Remember, if you play and continue to play and you break your leg, you remove you. So that breaking of leg can be when you are playing the politics and you can see that it is now going against your morals, your ethics. It's now going against, the organizational culture or the value. It's time for you to pause and look at it and think, what else can I do? And it's in that thinking that you might need to find out whether to stop or to use another route to go. And that's where wisdom comes in. Thank you, Ada.
Okay, thank you very much, Chinwe. Thank you so much. The very last question I have here, I guess the person has really understood what everything you said. He said, okay, so from what you said, the question is like this: I shouldn't take office politics personal. But what of a situation whereby I notice that my supervisor or maybe my colleague that maybe is competing with me is taking it so personal and is becoming so toxic that is affecting our work output? What do you advise?
Okay. When you observe that, have you tried to, engage that colleague in a neutral place? Just call that, you just want to understand what the issue is. Okay? Have you tried? That's the first thing, to engage, to understand first. If you try that and it doesn't work, have you tried to engage your boss, is the boss, on that to find out? Because at times, like I said, we don't understand. We don't even understand where that person is coming from and where that person is going, and then we'll charge. Maybe because of the words you've spoken or used and you have blocked communication. Because we are all human beings that think that, the first word you say can prevent the other person from even listening to you, because you've already spoiled the ambience or the environment for that person, or person is not feeling safe enough to talk. That's one. And that thing is that you can also go, you have colleagues, you have team members, you might even have somebody that is close to that particular person. Have you gone to that person to find out, see, I'm not seeing eye to eye this person, I'm feeling that here. Is there something that maybe he has because I really want to ensure that we solve out this problem. I really want to be sure. And that's why I keep saying about this building allies, building relationships. If I cannot get to you, then I go through others. You understand? Just to find. And the way you position yourself, that will really matter. Because at the end of the day, like I said, your focus is you want the best for yourself, you want the best for the business. And if this person is preventing you from getting that best, you need to find a way, rather than keep quiet or fight back that person. You need to find a better way to engage. So utilize your network. Utilize other ways. If it means even sending a mail to that person so that the person can take time to read, if you have not commented, there are different ways that you can do that, but the idea is that you should not avoid it, and you should not stay and fight back the same way. It will not solve the same issue. Thank you, Ada.
Thank you so much, Chinwe. In fact, I wish a whole lot of people were here, because I tell people, even if you're in business, you go to your business office or your shop as early as 7 in the morning and you stay there till 6. Likewise, those that are in the career world, you go to the office as early as 7:30, 8, and you stay there till 6. So the people, your colleagues that you relate with, you even spend more time with them than you spend with your families. And so that is very important, that you know how to live with them, relate with them, still get your objectives, and not without causing quarrel, or maybe being toxic, or maybe making the work environment very uncomfortable for other people. So it's something we need to keep hearing, so that as we hear, we unlearn. As we hear, we will learn. Because if we don't keep hearing it, people make a lot of mistakes. And really and truly, I've told people, we've come to realize that to a large extent, you can't do without 9 to 5. Even if you have things that you're doing by the side, you have to build alliances. You do businesses with people. You relate with people. And you set goals for yourself. Like, the year is about to end, and we're about to enter a new year. And a whole lot of people are already on the drawing board, thinking of next year, thinking of the goals that they will achieve next year, doing kind of like a review of the ones they didn't achieve. So it's all about setting goals. Like Dr. Divine said, you make the plan. Then God will now look at the plan to know whether to approve or not. If God comes and there is no plan, there is nothing to approve and to reject. And like my former supervisor will always say, don't do divine outsourcing. Divine outsourcing is outsourcing what you're meant to do to God. Yeah. God has his own part to play. We have our part to play. So you start the process. And if you start the process and you're aligning yourself with God, if it's going to be toxic or going to be unethical, God will pull you back and draw your attention. No, don't go through that route. Rather do it this way. That's where wisdom comes in. So it's very spot on, and I thank you very much for that. As in, I don't know who would have handled it much better than you did. Thank you so much, Chinwe, and you're part of us, because anytime we call, you have to come, because this is an everyday life. We apply it in our homes, in everything that we do. So I want to thank each and every one of us that came on this call. I want to call Dr. Divine now to do a summary and a recap, then so that we can wrap up now. Dr. Divine?
That there's nothing to actually summarize. Chinwe has done justice to the topic already. Like I will always say to you personally that when I joined MTN newly, she was one of those people that trained me, and so she's my trainer. So don't how do I say it now? Forget the fact that we are friends now. And she trained me and all of those things. Raw from NYSC got my first job, and she helped me and put me through on a lot of things. So I'm still grateful to her. All those things she helped and all those things she put us through is still what we are living on today. So Chinwe, publicly and before everybody today, I want to say I celebrate you and I appreciate you. Thank you for being who you are. Wonderful friend to have, wonderful sister to have, and wonderful fellow to really rely on. I remember when I needed something and I was a bit worried. I thought of who to talk to. Immediately I went to her. She was like, Divine, don't worry, we can work around this. And she helped me out. So she will thank you so much. Next year, 2022, I know we are going to do a lot together. Based on that thing we are talking now, we are going to do a lot together. Now, again, to everybody that is on this Kingdom Wealth Academy call this morning, Chinwe will be back. I don't need to send any invitation to her. I'm giving her open invitation now. She will be back in February. She is coming back in February, and it's going to be titled In the Beginning Career. In the Beginning Career. So whichever way she is led to take it through from there, because we need to start the year. We need to start the year, and we need to make plans for our business. We're going to have in the beginning from January till March. So it's going to be in the beginning career. We're going to have in the beginning business. We're going to have in the beginning marriage. We're going to have in the beginning religion. We're going to have in the beginning all of that till March, because we're going to be setting goals for 2022. So the whole of fourth quarter of next year, we're going to be having in the beginning. So Chinwe, please pencil down. We will discuss the date in February that will be okay for you, but it's going to be in the beginning career. So people need to plan their career and all of that. Thank you once again for honoring our invitation. We are not taking it for granted. Thank you so much. My regards to your wonderful and lovely family. To everybody that is on the call today, I want to celebrate every one of you. Every time we put out the call there to say we have something on Kingdom West Academy, thank you so much. We are going to have the last edition for this year 2021 of Kingdom West Academy next week, Upper Friday, which is 17th. 17th of this month, we are going to have the last edition for 2021, and it's going to be titled Prophetic Download. It's going to be titled Prophetic Download. It's going to be prophetic. We are going to end the year with prayers. We are going to end the year with prophetic utterance. And we are going to have the privilege of hosting Bishop Feyi Daniels. We are going to have the privilege of hosting Bishop Feyi Daniels. It's going to be titled Prophetic Download. 17th of this month is a Friday. It's no longer a Saturday. That program will be on a Friday, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 17th of this month, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, we are going to have prophetic download with Prophet or Bishop Feyi Daniel. So everybody that is on this call this evening, thank you so much. Remember, Jesus is coming. God bless you all. Ada, I hand over to you as I sign out.
So nothing more to say. Thank you, wonderful people. Love and celebrate all of you. So see you next week, and do enjoy the rest of your week. So
Bye.
have a lovely time. Bye.
Bye.